the top stars from Hollywood and from all over the world to entertain you on a giant screen with the few colorful motion pictures you've been hearing about and reading
It's
about.
showtime, folks. Enjoy the show.
We're delighted to have you with us. They're driving theater.
You'll find something to please you to add to your evening's enjoyment.
Is pleased to bring you our feature presentation.
What's up, boys and girls? It is time. We are here. You are tuned in to the Drive-In Speaker Box. This is what's today? What is today?
Today's the 22nd.
22nd? God dang! It is January. Where did January go? I have no idea. Do you know where it went?
Yeah, snow days, ice days.
Yeah, that's true.
Complete weeks of being stuck indoors because our roads were not clear.
Poopy.
Well, yeah, that, but also our city in particular decided not to do anything to help.
They're like, it's cold. Let's cancel everything. But anyway, this is the Drive-In Speaker Box. I'm your host, Bo, the boom operator.
I'm Jake the Grip.
And for the next hour, we're going to be talking to you about movie stuff. It's what we do.
Mm-hmm.
If you are joining us live, it is Monday. It is 8 o'clock Central Standard Time. We are streaming on YouTube Live, Facebook Live, and Twitch. We love Twitch. We usually start the show early for our Twitch viewers. Get that pre-show. It's a little more rough around the edges and off the cuff and real. It's where we stop being friends and start being real. Isn't that what they said at the Real World? I don't remember.
Something like that.
But yeah, so here we are. And don't forget, if you don't want to ever look at us or participate in the chat, you can always just download the audio version of this. You can just get this podcast wherever it is you get podcasts and have an amazing time. It was a good time. So tonight we're going to catch you up. We're going to do what we always do. We're going to catch you up on the last week in news. We're going to tell you what's coming out this weekend. We're going to tell you what made money this weekend. And we're going to review some movies. I went and saw Poor Things. It just came out at our local AMC, and I went and saw it last night. And I'm going to be talking to you probably. I want to break this one down a little bit because there's a lot to talk about on this movie, and I'm pretty sure Jake's got some Hindi Telugu whatever. No, I thought you said you watched like 100 of them this week.
No, I said the only new movies that we had listed here was the ISS, which I don't think either us or anyone that we know has really any true interest in.
I was gonna go see it, but then I saw that Poor Things was on the list. I was like, gotta go there. Yeah. And the fryer was down. I was so ready to go get some like Impossible nuggets or cheese sticks or, and you're like, what are you, vegetarian? No, the Impossible nuggets are better than the chicken tenders at AMC. Just putting that out there.
Dude, I'm going to tell you what, vegetarian chicken, with the apostrophe instead of the E or whatever, the fake chicken that vegans and vegetarians have is pretty good. Like, honestly, not bad. No, man, the only new movie we had anywhere at our local theaters was ISS, International Space Station. But there were a couple of new Indian films that came out. One was a superhero movie, and it was advertised as the beginning of a new franchise. And I had no interest in that. With its poor CG, it was called Hanuman. And it was about a guy that got the power of Hanuman when he almost drowns. Whoa. And it looked really cool, and it looked like an Indian movie at first. I'm like, well, that could be neat. And then it goes, it's a superhero movie, and then it showed all these guys in bad costumes being villains, like a Minions movie. And I was like, I'm out. And then the other one we had very little showings of, and its trailer made no sense about anything. But the thing about that, and the why I didn't pick one of them to watch like I normally would, is that the languages they were filmed in did not have any show times, or if they did have a show time, it was at a very inopportune time. So I couldn't watch them in their native language.
Yeah.
And I don't want to watch a foreign film overdubbed in a different language and then put into subtitles for me. So then I'm reading.
I think that
and
only
they're
works for
off-sync.
like Italian horror, because there is something fun about the off-syncedness of Italian horror.
Well, but you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm reading it in one language, the audio's coming through in another, but the people on screen are speaking in a different
An
one.
additional,
Yeah.
No, that's a lot to keep up with. But yeah, okay. Well, we're going to be talking about some movies. But before we do that, let's jump into some news. Lots of stuff already going on in the Twitch sphere over here. So if you are tuned in on Twitch, jump in. Facebook and YouTube, you can comment too. We love to hear you. So jump in right there. But this week, I know this isn't necessarily like movie news, but the Indiana Jones video game.
Yeah, it was making big news this past week.
Because apparently it's better than the last two movies.
Well, and it's like a big Xbox exclusive, which is good for guys like us.
And it takes place between Raiders of the Lost Ark and Last Crusade. Because Temple of Doom is a prequel. Don't think a lot of you guys remember or know that. Temple of Doom technically comes first.
Yeah, Indy got smart and got rid of Short Round by the time.
No, that's wrong. You're wrong. He got rid of that chick.
Yeah, her and Short Round both got booted.
Nah, Short Round, he lived in Shanghai, man. That was like his jam. And then he got whisked away on the stupid adventure accidentally.
But he was like Indy's like.
He had no time for love, Dr.
Sidekick.
Jones.
That's true. No time for love.
That's the best.
Dr. Jones.
Well, that was making a lot of news if you're into Indiana Jones. Other stuff that I was going to mention, which you kind of touched on, the sci-fi thriller ISS, International Space Station, not doing very well at the box office. Kind of making a minor impact, if you will. And people are saying, like, what's wrong? 2024 box office isn't off to a great start. What's going on? It's like, well, because every single movie you've put out has sucked butt.
Yeah, I mean, like, classically, January is not a great month for movies, but they're not doing anything to change it. There's been no interesting or new movies put out.
Thanks for the gifts, Andrew.
There's not a lot really hitting theaters to drive people into the movies right now, because who's just like, dude, ISS, I gotta go see that, I have to. About a movie that makes no sense at all. The entire world is on fire, so both of their governments tell them to kill each other on the International Space Station, and it's like, don't you think they'd be more worried about where their next meal is going to come from, or how they're going to get home from space if the world is ablaze? So yeah, it seems like a real dumb premise. Whatever happened to that Tom Cruise movie that was supposed to be filmed on the space station?
I don't know.
Russia got their girl up there, and they did that.
Yeah, maybe Tom's hanging on to that one. You know, that's gonna be Top Gun 4.
They were supposed to get him up there to film a movie before the whole Ukrainian invasion thing happened, and that definitely probably ruined all of that.
Oh yeah,
for sure. So I wish they would have done that. I wanted to see Tom Cruise in space.
Tom Cruise in space.
Yeah.
You know, that's how they just needed. That needs to be the name of the movie. You know, I'd go see that. Did you hear about this news? I don't know why people are excited about this, but they're talking about, a new Jurassic World movie.
Sure did, yeah.
And which I could absolutely care less about, because the Jurassic World movies have been terrible. What was Jurassic World Dominion was the last one.
Yeah.
And it was one of the most nonsensical pieces of film I've ever seen in my entire life.
Well, so according to Deadline, it's supposed to be a complete reboot with none of the characters from Jurassic World. So reboot in the sense of like Jurassic Park to Jurassic World reboot, where it's like it's still in the same universe and timeline, and all of that's happened. Or are they going to be like, Jurassic World never happened, this is just a continuation of the Jurassic Park?
Well, and this is the thing that kind of bothered me about the article.
Probably not.
Because, this is something that we talk about on the show. A lot of people that write about movies these days don't know anything about movies these days. They're just like young web journalists that haven't maybe seen any of these movies, maybe didn't study any of these movies. maybe were popular in school and didn't sit around and just watch movies all day to be their friends, like some people maybe in this room. Me and maybe you.
I made friends because we could talk about
yeah, of
movies,
course.
like how we became friends. You know,
but
like,
that was way later in life.
even better.
Yeah.
We're doing it in our 40s. Yeah,
like
Step
we'll be
Brothers.
70, being
Yeah.
like, "Oh, dude, Slimer."
Yeah, how cool would it have been if we had these as kids? Even better. We have them in our 40s.
Yeah. So the thing that's funny about this is they're like, "Oh, well, David Cope is going to write this movie. He wrote the original Jurassic Park, and that
Lost
was
World.
so good, and Lost World." And they're all like giving this guy such a round of applause for writing the original Jurassic Park and Lost World. I'm like, no, you didn't. Michael Crichton did.
He's the screenwriter.
Right, but
Yeah.
it's like I will give credit where credit's due. You adapted this to the screen, but it was so good because if you've read Jurassic Park and the Lost World novels, he did not deviate very far from the source material. Like the only thing that's not really in the original Jurassic Park movie that was in the book is the whole aviary scene. Apiaries, those giant bees, where all the pterodactyls were, and they were like, "Ah, shit, this is such a cool scene. Let's throw it in the third one."
Well, and the whole thing with Malcolm, right? Doesn't Ian Malcolm die in the original novel? But
John Hammond died in the original.
Really? Mm-hmm. But Ian Malcolm did too, and I think that
I think he died in Lost World.
No, Crichton did something weird to bring him back for Lost World. I haven't actually read the books, but I've read about the books.
I read them a long time ago, and they're fantastic. But like, don't give this screenwriter David like all this credit, like thinking like, oh, because he's back on the project, it's going to be great. Like, Michael Crichton didn't write any more great books for us to like, have source material from, so they're probably going to continue to be stupid. Just re-release Jurassic Park again. I don't know. That's really all we want to see. We just want to see Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, just
and
do Jurassic Park 4K in
T-Rexes.
theaters.
That's all we want to do. But anyway, that's been news this week that was kind of interesting. What else was in the news? Oh, a Book of Eli prequel, which is something I didn't think anyone was asking for.
What is it going to have?
Nope. John Boyega is stepping in.
All right, I'm out.
To be Denzel Washington's character.
Yeah, that's the name I was trying to think of. Dude, Book of Eli is like one of those movies where it didn't do well in theaters and not a lot of people really talked about it and everything. But then like you watch it and you're like, well, this is a good movie.
I really like that movie until they tried to make the whole like twist ending where he's like, "I'm blind, motherfucker," and like,
yeah, but they do it in the last like 30 seconds. It's
I
not
know, but that
like
was
they put like a
stupid.
big twist on it. It was just like, turns out the whole time.
he's blind.
And also the book he's carrying is the Bible, and it's in Braille, so he's the only one.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, but people that can see can read Braille too if they learn. It's
Not in that world.
Not in that world, of course. But he could have taught him if he wasn't so stingy with his Braille readings.
Well, he could have taught him, but then they shot him.
That's right.
But then he does teach them. He recites the whole thing, and they write it down before he succumbs to his gun wounds. Wow, we gave all the spoilers of that movie.
he recited the entire Bible. Like
He does.
That was not a very like
That was
potent
his
gun
real
wound. You're like, I'm gonna survive for the next month.
No, dude, it was the power of Jesus or whatever, Like, that's his real superpower in the
Well,
movie.
you'd think the power
is
of
that
Jesus would just fucking heal him instead of just being like, well,
it's
just
not
keep
Raiders,
you alive
or
long
it's-
enough to
It's not
recite
Last
this.
Crusade. It's not
Yeah.
Last Crusade, bro. But that was his superpower,
Jesus,
is
what a
remembering
dick.
every single word of the entire Bible in his brain before dying from a gunshot.
All the people that begat other people that begat other people that
Yeah.
begat other people. That's like
Anyhow.
17 chapters.
Yeah, a prequel to that sounds real stupid.
Yes, it does.
Don't like it. And also
Maybe
with,
it's how he got blind.
with John Boy. I don't know that there's any movies that John Boyega has been in where I'm like, that guy's a good actor, and I want to see more movies
Pacific
of
Rim.
this guy. No, absolutely no. Remember when we watched that dumbass movie?
The second one was bad.
Yeah, that's the one he's in.
I know. The first one's pretty good.
Yeah, the first one's not good, but at least it had old, Luther? What's that dude's name?
Oh, Idris Elba.
Yeah, Idris Elba was in it, and Charlie Hunnam. But Idris Elba was cool as hell in that movie when he quit being a doucher man. Remember the first, hour and a half of that movie where his job was just be King Doucher.
Oh, yeah.
And then at the end of the movie, he's like, "Now I'm gonna go pilot this thing and punch the hell out of that alien." And it was like,
Kaiju.
yeah, whatever.
It's a kaiju. I think everybody knows the word kaiju now.
Yeah, probably.
Right? We all know kaiju. Godzilla, like the black and white release, is getting some circulation this week.
Is it gonna leave Japan?
We got Godzilla back in our theaters. I think
saw
it's at the
that
Mount
Godzilla -1 is at one of our theaters still.
but I think it's still the colorized version.
Yeah, it is. No, I haven't heard that the black and white has left Japan yet.
I would go see it again to see it in black and white.
But
Or it's like glasses I can just put on and make it black and white.
It filters the color out.
Or just like pull up Instagram and like sit there through the black and white filter.
Yeah, like the reverse Turner colorization. You know what? Talking Zilla, there's a new trailer for Zilla X Kong.
Oh, I did not catch that.
Yeah, new trailer for that one where you get to see more of Kong's exoskeleton arm.
Because they have to keep improving Kong to make it even marginally feasible that he could not get immediately laser blasted by Godzilla.
Well, it opens. Him and Zilla are on the same team in this one. So you've seen the trailer, right? The first trailer they released with Pink Godzilla.
Pink, yeah.
But Toho was like, yeah, no, Pink is legit. That's cool. But it opens up with Kong's hand and the exoskeleton coming out of the ground, and then it ends. It has like
Does it end with this Predator handshake of like Kong and Godzilla?
That would be cool as hell.
It's just like this like scaly claw and then a monkey hand just.
No, it ends. So the trailer ends. It has a fake ending, and then it comes back, and it's just King Kong on a beach going, "Yeah," and it freeze frames, and it goes, "Don't you forget about me." But
he's wearing those little gray shorts.
It really does. It ends with him sticking his hand in the air with the fist still on, and so it kind of gives away the ending of the movie probably because it shows the orangutan, the lanky Kong, standing on a beach looking at all these people, and then it ends with Kong standing on a beach and like raising his exoskeleton hand. So he probably punched that dude to death. And Zilla blew a pink laser up his butthole or whatever, you know.
What?
So that's out there.
What is happening?
There's also a new trailer for a movie on Netflix called Hitman, starring Glenn Powell from
Wasn't there just
Top Gun.
another? Or no, that was Killer that I was thinking about.
Well, this one's a romantic comedy action movie like they keep doing. So Glenn
about
Powell,
Hitman, because there was the
there's the one with old
Long Kiss Goodnight, which was
that's
an old
way
one.
back, going way back.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all of the ones.
That wasn't a romantic comedy. That was just an action movie.
But wasn't there, like Gina Davis, wasn't there a romantic figure? Okay, well then, all right, I'm going to scrap that one.
But that's a fun movie.
It is a fun movie. Gross Point Blank, romantic comedy about hitmen.
There's the one on that was a Netflix movie that has old Anna Kendrick and dancing dude.
Was it? Well, I'm thinking the one with was it Tom Cruise?
The Last Night or something night.
And then there was the Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt one,
Mr. and Mrs. Smith, which there's a TV series of it. Yeah. But that wasn't a comedy.
The Killers, Ashton Kutcher and Katherine Heigl.
Mr. and Mrs. Smith wasn't a comedy. It was just a stupid, dumb, not good movie.
It was a hitman romance.
It was supposed to be sexy and cool, but it was
what
just
was that one with Sylvester
movie.
Stallone and Halle Berry, which was not like a sexy film. It was like Hitman, but then it was like Halle Berry and Sylvester Stallone's like butts in the shower, and they're like,
Sylvester
oh man,
Stallone.
they're butts. I thought it was Sylvester Stallone.
I don't remember Stallone and Halle Berry being in a movie together.
Somebody in the comments is going to be like, oh, it's that, you idiots. I don't have Google in front of me. What was it? Somebody. It was like Stingray or with an S.
Now, there was that movie with Hugh Jackman where he was the hacker and Halle Berry was in it.
All right.
With her boobies out. You remember?
I don't remember.
That was the whole thing about that movie. Hugh Jackman got sucked off and Halle Berry had her boobies out.
What the hell was it? I know somebody does it.
I don't know what you're talking
and
about.
I can't Google Swordfish.
That's the one with Hugh Jackman, and he's a hacker. No. That's not a romance or a comedy. It's just a action movie where Wolverine gets sucked off and Halle Berry has her boobies out for John Travolta.
No, that wasn't the same. I'm thinking of something else. I'm thinking of another one. I don't know. We can't derail too far off.
Anyhow,
I'll post in the
Glenn
comments later.
Powell is apparently like the go-to romance man because he's in that movie that's in theaters right now, the Australian Destination Wedding, whatever dumb movie, and he helped co-write this with Richard Linklater, who's the director for it. He's directing Netflix movies now.
Wait, I like Richard Linklater.
Yeah, well, there you go. You might check this one out. Yeah, but it's a Netflix movie, which is kind of weird to go from like doing like Boyhood to doing Netflix movies.
Dude,
you know,
no joke.
Yeah.
Or Waking Life. Did he do that one too?
I don't know. I know he did School of Rock. That's a good one.
The Specialist. Yeah, maybe I'm blurring Swordfish and The Specialist together. Sharon Stone was in that one. Yeah, thanks, Vince. Over on Twitch.
But talking about other newer movies, lots of updates of movies to be. Mortal Kombat 2 just finished its filming over the last week. So principal photography on Mortal Kombat 2 is done. Maybe they can make this one a little bit better than the last one because I can't remember the name of the fake character that they added in that was the main guy.
Yeah, I don't either.
But it was the dude that played Kung Lao that shared photos. And I mean, we got all those sneak peeks of Kitana and Shao Kahn and Shang-Chi. Not Shang-Chi.
He was in the 10 Rings, right?
Yeah. The sorcerer, the other evil sorcerer. It doesn't matter. Tron 3 has started filming.
I don't know. I don't think anybody asked for a Tron 3. I think everybody was like, I want more Daft Punk music.
People
and
asked
LED lights.
Asked for Tron 3 after the trailer for Tron 2, but then people watched Tron 2 and they're like, no Tron 3.
Yeah, we're done. We don't need more plastic-faced sprite people.
Yeah. But Gillian Anderson is going to be in this one now because everyone was like, oh, Jared Leto, I don't want to watch that. And they go, but what about X-Files chick? And they're just like, maybe. So they've started filming on that one. Nothing new about it other than that, but the director, Joachim Roning, shared a on-set photo. It began filming last week. Yeah.
Night Owlishly over on Twitch, she just commented and says, I was literally coming in to say I would take another Tron soundtrack, but I don't think I need another Tron movie.
That's an idea for them just to make Tron albums. Tron the album.
You could just just get on YouTube and search for 10 hours of 80s synthwave and you will get infinite Tron soundtracks.
Not Shang Tsung. I'm thinking of the dude. He has the white skin and he's like the evil sorcerer from the Nether Realm. I'll think about it later. I knew it last week when we were talking about it. I can't think of it right now. But also, as far as things, the Michael Jackson biopic started filming today.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
it's going to be a tough one to watch, I think.
Jafar Jackson shared a behind-the-scenes photo of him in a dance studio in like the Smooth Criminal era outfit, being the Bruce Lee shoes with the vest and the hat, and he's up on his tippy toes, in like in the pose.
Yeah, because they had
like
the
knees
special...
bent like the ow, ow. Yeah. No, not the lean. Like that, the Smooth Criminal era, like on his tiptoes.
Oh, the Moonwalker, silhouette?
Kind of, yeah. So that starts filming today, and, it's supposed to be a movie that explores the humanity of Michael Jackson. So we'll see how that one does since his family's heavily involved in it. What kind of light it's going to portray Michael in, because every couple of years there's a new documentary like that last one on HBO where like, dude, he totally messed with those little kids. But then you think about it and it's like Corey Feldman and Macaulay Culkin were like, no, he was the coolest dude in the world. He was the only person that treated me like a human being. In
a sea of people that abused people like Macaulay Culkin.
Yeah, Corey Feldman is clearly not shy about sharing who abused him. Is an abuser, and he said that Michael's cool. So we'll see how that movie goes from there.
Yeah,
regardless,
it's funny. Like, I'm glad you brought that up because that is a really valid point. Because that for me was when I was like, okay, Michael may, I'm going to take this with a grain of salt because it was all because of Corey Feldman, because I like Corey Feldman. I feel bad for him right now at this stage of his career, but he was one of the first whistleblowers of the Me Too movement, but no one listened because he was Corey Feldman, and everyone's like, you're kind of weird now. And he's like, I'm weird because I got molested by all of these like creepy old dudes in Hollywood, and here are their names. And but he did not call out Michael, He's like, and he defended Michael. And I'm like, oh, well, that's got to say something, because this dude has absolutely no shame in pointing fingers on all the people.
Dude, 100%. And that's someone that, that's dead and gone, and nothing can happen to him from that, but he's never said a bad thing about it. So,
and as Dina said, that interview, Barbara Walters was so mean to Corey Feldman, because that was one of those things where he tried to come out. And,
well, same thing with, since we're talking about that, in movies, old dude, Eddie from the Vacation movies, Randy Quaid.
Right, Randy Quaid.
He came out and said something against people in Hollywood and how they acted and stuff, and they just blacklisted that dude. And then same thing with Corey Feldman. They're like, he's crazy. He's crazy, and trying to make him seem like he's a crazy person. But
meanwhile, Epstein didn't kill himself.
Yeah, for sure. Back to movies to be. There is Thunderbolts. Thunderbolts is Marvel stuff. Didn't think we'd have to talk about Marvel again.
Surprise! Every episode it happens.
Yeah, almost. We've been able to get away from it since they've tanked a couple of movies. But Sebastian Stan said that filming for Thunderbolts should start in about a month or so.
Is he reprising his role as
he's going to
Bucky?
be?
Okay.
Yeah, he's going to be Bucky. They're going to have him, which is weird. I quit reading comics back in 2009. So to my knowledge, like Bucky was never in Thunderbolts, and the way that Marvel has their characters, like they don't have Spider-Man's Norman Osborn to be in there. They can't. Hawkeye's not a bad guy, so they can't have Hawkeye and stuff. Like, what version of Thunderbolts is it going to be, and how's it even going to be interesting if you don't have some of the best characters to be Thunderbolts in the Thunderbolts? But whatever, that's going to be out there for the people that like Marvel still. And then, there was a new trailer for Dune. A new Dune 2 trailer came out.
See that.
Where you get to see some more of Shai Hulud, which is pretty cool, coming out of the sand to eat this army. But Josh Brolin's back.
Yup.
So that's pretty cool. And also, we get to see Christopher Walken as the Emperor in the trailer. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, Christopher Walken.
Yeah, super jazzed about Dune whenever they decide to finally put it on the screen. I can't remember. It was supposed to be early or late last year, then early this year, and now it's summer probably.
Whenever, who knows?
It doesn't matter. I'm just stoked to go watch it because the first one in the theater was
so good. That's a
good.
Theater movie.
That is a theater movie. Yeah, definitely. It just sucks. Like I saw things where people were finally finding out about Blade Runner 2049. It's like, dude, if you didn't watch it in the theater, you're not seeing the same movie that I saw. So.
Well, speaking of movies to see in a theater, there's a new weekend coming up. We have movies to tell you about that are coming out in theaters this weekend. Not a lot of big stuff. Again, January. That's what happens. There's a few sort of indie limited release movies coming out. One with Ian McShane called American Star. It's about an assassin, which we were just talking about, on his final assignment. He's killing a guy he's never met. When his target is delayed, he finds himself drawn to the island and people on the ghostly shipwreck of this exotic location he's at. And Ian McShane's cool. He's so old now, though, that him as a believable hitman just seems a little odd because, I mean, you think about Ian McShane, the last couple of movies that everybody really saw him in were John Wick as, the old guy. I mean, he was born in like 1942, this guy. Like, I don't know if like that
really?
Yeah, if that hitman's gonna like roll in and be like, you're dead. Oh, like the recoil from his gun like just gives him a heart attack. I don't know. Yeah, 81. That's an old dude, man. That is an old dude.
Well,
my grandmother's 84, and I can't imagine her being a hit person. She's going to be coming in and be like, pew, 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 and like it'll knock her over.
Yeah, my grandpa's in his early 80s, but he's pretty spry. He's just pretty
spry enough to like be a hitman.
I mean, you would think he was in his like 60s if you didn't know he was in his 80s.
Well, that's coming out. Might not be in wide release. Also coming out this week from director Jade Halle Bartlett. It is a movie called Miller's Girl, which stars Martin Freeman and Jenna Ortega. It is about a creative writing assignment yields complex results between a teacher and his talented student. It's coming out from Lionsgate. You know, the trailer looks a bit Lolita-esque, but I did not watch the whole trailer.
Dude, no one wants to see Bilbo bang Wednesday.
No. Bilbo Bangins? No, we don't need any of that. But, you know, Martin Freeman's fun to watch. Jenna Ortega's is pretty cool. She kind of is getting typecast into, like, these dark emo roles, but she excels at them. But anyway,
well, it's because she has like that face, that like face. Plus, her like first roles that I remember ever seeing her in is You season 2.
Yep.
And the Babysitter 2.
Yep, Babysitter 2. I remember that.
Yeah. So I think she just that, and then she's in Scream and Wednesday, and I think like her whole the majority of her career of stuff that people have actually watched with her is just like murder stuff. She's got a good murder stuff look.
Anyway, that's coming out, as well as Sometimes I Think About Dying. Which,
Same.
Yeah.
Same.
A Tale as Old as Time. It's from director Rachel Lambert. It's starring Daisy Ridley, who we all know from some other movies that we won't talk about, but it's about Fran. Fran loves to think about dying, and but she does make the new guy at work laugh, which leads to dating and then more. But now the only thing standing in the way of their relationship is Fran herself. So probably, you know, looks like a dark romantic comedy. There you go. It's a dark romantic comedy. I mean, the title is literally Sometimes I Think About Dying. So that one's coming out. Probably not an expanded release either. We might get it here. We're kind of fortunate here to get some of these limited release movies. But yeah, not much else coming out.
Oh, you know what else we're getting this weekend?
What's that?
Fighter.
Are we getting it though?
Yeah, we should. Dude, we get all the big Indian movies. We should get Fighter. There's one I talked about last week. Hrithik Roshan, India's answer to Top Gun. It looks sick. If we get Fighter, you will not be able to keep me away from it. If we get more turd weather out of nowhere and my vehicle won't move, I will dress up like Ralphie's little brother and I will waddle to the movie theater to watch Fighter. Yeah.
But what if you have to pee?
I don't know.
Ralphie. Especially if this is
I'll be on the ground going, Ralphie.
Especially if this movie is an Indian movie. It's 3 hours long, so you're gonna have to pinch it somewhere, bro.
Yeah, well, it looks sick. Isn't Deepika Padukone in this one too?
Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, Hrithik Roshan, Deepika Padukone. It's gonna be dope.
All right. Well, that's coming out somewhere in a theater, maybe near you.
Hopefully near you. Yeah, go watch it.
Well, okay. Well, that is what is in theaters this coming week.
Just go, man. yeah. Dude, I gotta pee. Just go, man. It's so warm.
So let's talk about this movie that I saw that's in the title of this video. It's called Poor Things. This movie has been in development for a while. It was kind of announced, I want to say, in like 2018. It's based off of a book written in 1992, I believe. It's called Poor Things, Episodes from the Early Life of Archibald McCandless, MD, Scottish Public Health Officer. It is a very unusual tale being adapted onto screen by director Yorgos Lanthimos. And if you don't know his film career, a lot of people really know him for The Lobster. And that came out in 2015. He has done a series of short films. Necktie was pretty good. Dogtooth, pretty good. He, got on the map from The Lobster. And he's got this really surreal vision for this film that reminded me of a Terry Gilliam movie, which I really enjoyed. I really love Terry Gilliam. And I've been reading, I never read a review before I see a movie. I've been reading a lot of reviews about this movie, and a lot of people are like, shock for shock's sake, and this movie was so crazy, and it's just so much sex. And
that's the thing I always see in all the articles. It's like, why this movie has so many weird graphic sex scenes for zombies. Zombie sex.
There's, sex does sell. And if we're being honest, like, Poor Things had a runtime of 2 hours and 21 minutes. And I genuinely think they could have cut about 15 minutes of sex scenes out of this thing. Because there was a whole, like, the way it's separated into vignettes of chapters of this woman's life. And the portion in Paris where she decides to start working at a brothel, like, there is a gratuitous amount of sex in this. And I'm no prude by any stretch of the imagination, but even it got boring. Like, it wasn't telling the story or building the development, because like I was reminded of directors like Lars von Trier, where people are just like, oh dude, we're just gonna show this clitoris is close up and it's fucking art, dude, get ready, and maybe we'll put a penis in there, but it's not porn. And guys like Lars von Trier love to shock and awe, and this was not quite that. And sorry, kids at home. Oh, I forgot. There might be children listening or watching. But
you use scientific terms, my guy.
I did, and it's in your health book, chapter 7. But this, it was done in a way that was tasteful enough to illustrate what this character was doing. But then it just happened so often, and I'm like, okay, I've already got it. Let's move on. And there was portions of the film later that were major character developing points that I felt like could have been extrapolated on a little deeper, that I feel like you used all your time having sex with creepy French weirdos when you could have been telling
Don't we all?
Right. So anyway, Poor Things. Whoop. Let's start at the beginning. This movie is starring, of course, Emma Stone, Mark Ruffalo, and Willem Dafoe. Fantastic performances by all three of these very talented people. I could watch Willem Dafoe eat cereal and be entertained by it. This dude is incredible. He plays the character Dr. Godwin Baxter, who is this Dr. Frankenstein-esque creator who was, he has all these macabre experiments, and this takes place in kind of an alternate timeline. It's like they're in London, but it's not our London. There's like dirigibles and like tram trolleys in the sky and like weird carts that are motorized but still have horse heads, and like it's like it's kind of a very odd world that they exist in, which is very fun to witness on screen, which gives me all those Terry Gilliam vibes. But Willem Dafoe, he's this doctor that's just all mismatched, but he's a brilliant surgeon. That you, through the course of the story, find out that he had a lot of childhood trauma. He had a lot of damage. He had a lot of things that made him the way he was. And he, in this experiment, creates Bella Baxter, who is Emma Stone's character. And he is trying to not necessarily replicate the sins of his father, but he is a product of the sins of his father, and he is a scientist and all this kind of stuff, and he's trying really hard not to do the same thing with Bella. But what happens is he discovers this body of this woman who tries to commit suicide, and she jumps off of a bridge. The body's still relatively fresh. He finds her. He's like, well, there was an unborn infant, like almost to term, in her belly. So he takes out the baby, takes out the baby's brain, takes out the mom's brain, puts the baby's living brain in the dead mom's body, revives it, and you have Bella Baxter, the daughter of a mom in the same body as an infant in a woman's body. And so you're watching this infant woman experience the world at an absolute rapid pace, like not being afforded all of the childlike, comforts and protections that children get from the Epsteins and things of the world, but being thrust into this woman's world with this very unsharpened view of it. And through this, Willem Dafoe is using this as kind of like, it's an experiment to Willem, but he's also developing paternal instincts for his child, you know? And so Mark Ruffalo plays this character, Duncan Wedderburn, who's this dashing asshole, like, lawyer guy that comes and whisks her off her feet and shows her the world because she's Emma Stone and she's hot, you know? And he's like, oh, you're so weird and I'm into that. But she has the mind of like a 10-year-old, you know, and he's like, let's go. And she's like, I want to experience the world. Let's go. And she's like, tantrums. You can't stop me. So the movie is all about her self-exploration. Let me check into the comments really quick. Ali Sparkman says, I saw Poor Things Friday night. Loved it. Definitely think it could have been cut down a little time-wise, but I still really enjoyed it. Same. Just now thinking of how fast the synapses form in the early days after birth. That would be crazy. And so, yeah, she develops very, very rapidly. And so this movie takes place, like I said, in a series of vignettes of these places that she goes. And it is a story very much of like self-discovery, womanhood, insecurity, not just, you know, I think it's very obvious to people be like, oh, it's all about male insecurity. And like, yes, there's a lot of male insecurity that happens in this movie. I think it's just human insecurity. There's parental insecurity. There's all of this stuff going on. I mean, even Emma Stone, she rarely feels like pain or remorse for these things that she's doing. Like she takes this whole time in Paris to like work at a brothel and
with the baby brain.
With the baby brain, yeah. Ooh. And, you know, rapidly like learning because like, you know, when you're a kid and you touch your genitals for the first time, you're like, this is cool, you know, and can we just do this all the time? And, you know, in a woman's body, like she kind of technically could and no one's going to stop her. And, you know, learning pity, learning remorse, learning consequence, learning, you know, emotion. And a lot, like people are kind of throwing this movie under the bus because like, oh, it's just so wild and zany and it's distracting and it doesn't have any substance. This movie actually does have some substance if you want to like stop and really distill what's happening here. And the one thing that I do regret they didn't address as much is just like the absolute mindfuck that is being your mom and your daughter at the same time. Like how, like what, you know, and just like that didn't get explored. There was a scene where she's trapped on this like cruise ship for a while, exploring philosophy and the concept of having other friends like through these passengers because Mark Ruffalo, Duncan, he didn't like how adventurous she was. So he's like, let's go on this long cruise and I can keep my eye on you. And she's like, oh, so now I'm another prisoner. But anyway, through the course of that, she has this seeing these dead babies and poor people at this port that she stops, and she just like breaks her down. The scene takes place in 5 minutes, you know, and there are important emotional lessons and important things, milestones that I think this character would have hit that made her the final character that you see at the end of the movie, which the movie ends wonderfully. But they spent more time on whorehouse scenes that lasted 15 minutes with sex with a guy that does like a crab walk, and like it was unnecessary. I mean, it's funny, but it's unnecessary, and seeing his balls like flap around. When they could have spent more time on scenes like her discovering the pain of seeing a dead child and the pain of poverty and the pain of consequence, where they just kind of like, well, she's hurting for a minute. Let's get back to eating pastries till she throws up. And so that was kind of like my only complaint about this movie, and it just kind of wrapped up with a pretty little bow, and had a little bit of a feel-good ending with a very large, strange journey. You know, you have characters like Max McCandles, who is kind of the simp of the whole situation, that doesn't get a lot of screen time as well towards the end. But anyway, yeah, it's fun. I enjoyed it. It reminds me of a Terry Gilliam movie. It reminds me of a fun, whimsical art, with a little more shock value. They were like, gore. I didn't see a lot of gore. There's surgeries. There's like cats with dog heads and pit bulls with goose heads and a chicken with a pig head. And like, I don't consider that gore. It's just kind of weird.
Gore for people who've never watched like, oh shit, what's the guy that does Scanners?
We just talked about him the other day.
I know, dude. My brain is so dumb.
Let's see if you can do
Cronenberg.
it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right.
Because it did a
people
whole
that have
episode.
never seen like Cronenberg movies. Well, yeah, I've seen
Body
like,
horror is a whole genre.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, any body horror movie. So yeah, I mean, if there's only scenes here and there, you know what? One thing I was gonna say. I said it's fun to watch Willem Dafoe do whatever, just like the most mundane, boring thing. There is actually a really good YouTube thing to watch after you're done watching us, that the Criterion Collection puts out, where they have actors in like this closet where they pick out movies from the Criterion Collection
And just watch them.
and they make their picks, right, and then it lists what their picks are at the end of it. But he like grabs movies and talks about how much he likes them and stuff like that. And I was sitting there kind of like the whole time being like, I wonder if he's going to grab his like, Jesus movie. And he totally does. But it's a fun little thing. It's not like the most exciting thing in the world, but it is Willem Dafoe being a really cool dude.
Willem Dafoe's cool. Like, this movie, final thoughts on this movie before we kind of move on. It has a lot more substance as a sort of dissection of complicated relationships than a lot of movies I've seen. One interesting thing is just like people at no matter what walk of life they are able to grow, change, and learn about their world. Like Willem Dafoe, it wasn't until he was almost dead where he learned the love of a parent, right? And Emma Stone, while she's in a woman's body, there's experiences in the world she needs to have before she can actually start to feel like a woman, and even Mark Ruffalo's character of having consequence to like all of this dashing, roguish, ne'er-do-well behavior, like finding what it's like to be normal, but being necessarily kind of punished by the own thing that he set into play. He's like, I'm going to take this girl on a fling. It's going to be fine. I don't care about her. But then he turns out like getting hit taste of his own medicine. And it's interesting to see how all of these characters kind of had something to grow from. And anyway, I thought it was good. Vince says, you haven't heard of the Criterion Closet, Bo? Yeah, I used to follow Criterion a lot, and then I kind of fell out of love with it when it just started to feel like it was a money project. And
That's true.
Yeah,
But there's a lot of Criterion Collection movies out there now.
Yeah, and I'm like, why is this?
Some
Criterion?
of them are only a couple of years old, and they're like, oh, Criterion Collection.
Yeah, ooh, this is because there for a while Criterion meant something. It's like if this movie was being selected to be a Criterion edition, that this is a movie that you need to see. Like this is just of the annals of film history, this one deserves its place in the Criterion Collection. And now it's just like, well, this movie's pretty neat, and you'll buy it if we make an $80 box set of it. So get the Criterion Collection of Hot Tub Time Machine today, and
yeah.
So anyway, that's Poor Things. It's playing in theaters near you. It did get a little bit more of a weekend release this weekend from last weekend. I think it increased 820 theaters this weekend. Still, it just barely made itself into the top 10, which Jake is going to tell you about here in just a minute. Velvet Santa, yes, we will get to that goodie box here at the end of the show after the box office roundup. But yeah, now we're going to move on to the last segment of the show, which is the box office roundup. For those of you that have no idea what's going on right now, this is where we give you a list of the top 10 movies in America, what they made at the box office, and where they rank. We give you domestic numbers for this reason because this is how you can determine if we're going to get sequels, if we're going to get reboots, if we're going to get all of this kind of stuff. Just follow the money. If we're no longer going to see any more romantic comedies, or we're only going to see more romantic comedies because of movies like Anyone But You. Like, this is follow the money. So, all right, Jake, this is for the weekend of January 19th through 21st. What made money?
Yeah, here we go. In the 10th spot, like you were just talking about, Poor Things, climbing up from the 13th spot, brought in just over $2 million this past weekend, which is a 20% increase since they gained more than double the theaters that it was in. So in its 7 weeks of limited release, it's brought in $20.5 million. So not bad for a movie that until this past weekend was only in, 600 theaters?
Yeah.
So, yeah, there you go. Coming in at number 9 in its 4th week out, The Boys in the Boat, $2.5 million brought in by that one. Almost $44 million total for a movie that was advertised very little before it came out and has really just gathered steam as it's been released.
You could call it a steamboat. Womp womp. Nah, they can't all be winners.
You could. But so that one's out there. I think I still saw that one listed at the majority of the theaters we have here near us. And then at number 8, Night Swim. Wow, already at the bottom half of the top 10.
3 weeks.
The only horror one that I know about that's out right now.
Mm-hmm.
Dropping from the 7th spot down to number 8. Brought in $2.8 million this past week. In its 3 weeks out, has brought in just under $24 million for that one. It's probably made money because it's a horror movie, but at the same time, I imagine they wanted a lot more out of that. That's not a lot for like a bigger budget horror movie like this one, like a well advertised, named actors like horror movie. But I haven't seen anything good about it. I've seen a lot of things that it's like
monster in the pool,
super dumb. Yeah. And that like there's no consequences to it. No one really dies or gets hurt except for the cat.
Well, then that's stupid.
Yeah. It's mainly like the pool's just scary, is what I've seen. There is one spoiler I don't want to give away for people that like that kind of thing, but whatever. And then opening at the number 7 spot. Clearly, we're not the only people that did not want to watch this movie. ISS brought in just over $3 million. So it's out there. That's the thing you can watch if you want to.
Beep. Mission Control, no one's in the theater.
Yeah. It's just the idea of a movie that's premise makes no sense from the get-go. Already they're like, geez, the world is literally on fire in this photo, but they want us to kill each other up here for no good reason.
I mean, you should take a page out of the playbook of Dr. Stone, like the manga anime, where there's people on the space station, they see a catastrophic thing happen on Earth, and they go, we're the only ones that can fix this, and let's work together.
Yeah, maybe. And then at the number 6 spot, holding the number 6 spot, Aquaman 2, $3.6 million brought in by that one. And it's 5 weeks, more than a month out. It's brought in 114 in the U.S. Globally, it's brought in about $400 million. So I think it may have just turned some sort of profit on it finally through its
way to go, Aquaman.
Filming and advertising. So at least it's not in the red completely. So tough one out there for Aquaman. And then coming in at the halfway, number 5, Anyone But You.
How is this movie making so much money?
$5.4 million brought in by that one. 64 and a quarter total in the U.S. 5 weeks out on that one. It's made $100 million across the world. I guess it.
How? TikTok. I know Dina's gonna say it. It's freaking word of mouth TikTok crap.
Well, shit. I don't have TikTok. I don't know these things. Do you have TikTok?
No.
I don't have TikTok.
Hell no.
That's not really my thing.
No.
And then at number 4, climbing from the 5th spot. So Anyone But You and this one switch places. Migration. $5.5 million brought in by that, and it's 5 weeks out. $94.8 million. So that one may end up being something that studio's happy with after all. It's brought in another $100 million across the world.
Yeah.
I would not have expected a animated movie about mallards to do that.
I mean, it looks so Migration. I actually kind of want to go see this because it breaks my rule of why I don't like CGI animal movies, because I don't like CGI animals doing people things. That's not I don't like Zootopia.
They grab microphones and sing or something in this. Like
they're CGI animals doing animal things in a people world, and I'm okay with that. Like they're still animals. Like there was in the trailer. It kind of made me laugh. Like in the trailer where they're these ducks and they're in this like French restaurant looking at this dude like hack ducks to pieces, and they're like, "What is that?" And it's like, "It's duck à l'orange." And like, "What's duck à l'orange?" And it goes, "It's you with l'orange." Yeah. And I'm like, "Oh, that's pretty funny." I don't know why, but they're still animals, you know?
I think that line is spoken by Aquafina, and maybe it's made $100 million across the world outside the U.S. because they don't have to deal with Aquafina's voice. Quit putting Aquafina in movies, please. She was the only part of Renfield I didn't like.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
I could have done with that. Renfield was a fantastic movie minus Aquafina.
Yeah, she was really the main character, which was stupid. Less of that. And like Jumanji 2, she was awful. I don't know. Quit putting Aquafina in movies.
Allie Sparkman says on Twitch, she says, the 22-year-olds are saying that Anybody But You is, quote, the best rom-com ever. This is from people that have not watched many rom-coms. Rom-coms are terrible movies.
Hey, Fool's Gold is pretty good.
Fool's Gold is pretty good.
And Failure to Launch. You know what? McConaughey rom-coms
are pretty good.
Are pretty good.
You know, my favorite rom-com? The Baxter.
I don't know that I've seen
It's
that.
a fantastic.
I don't make it a habit to watch rom-coms. It's just
no, because they're all almost all of them are extremely formulaic, terrible.
Fool's Gold is badass as a movie in general because it's an action movie too, and it has.
I know you hate it, but I like 6 Days, 7 Nights.
I do hate that movie. I hate that movie so much.
I like it.
Well, yeah, but it's like Harrison Ford being like real life Harrison Ford,
I know.
and not like cool movie Harrison Ford.
I know. Yeah. I know.
It has Anne Heche, and she's like
okay with it. Dina says they don't really make rom-coms for young people anymore. Because like their lives are already calm. You know, like rom-coms are just gross and stupid. They're not. They're so few and far between where I'm like, this is funny and entertaining.
You know what isn't a bad movie, and it's really the reason that people know who Awkwafina is Filthy Rich Asians wasn't bad. It's
that's a good movie.
It's a little light on the com and heavy on the rom.
But I thought that was a good movie.
But it has Michelle Yeoh being a bitch,
just
being the meanest bitch in the world.
I think the cast is what made that movie so fantastic.
Yeah. It has Michelle Yeoh.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just indicative of my love life that I don't like movies like that. I don't know. Maybe that's why. I have no clue. So
anyhow, back to the countdown here, or count up. No, countdown. Holding at the number 3 spot, Wonka. How is this one still making the dollars? 6 weeks out, $6.7 million this past weekend. It's made $187.5 million. I wonder if people just want to see musicals, or if it's something where a lot of people
want to see Wonka.
Yeah,
they want to see colors.
533 million across the globe. Not too bad for that one. Maybe it's just because Chalamet's in it, and like the people really like Timothy Chalamet.
They do, man. They do.
Yeah, who knows? And then at number 2, The Beekeeper, holding its number 2 spot for its second week out. $8.6 million brought in by it with its release date last week. Brought in $31.25 million here in the U.S. Across the world, it's brought in $75.5. I saw a thing, one of those clickbaits that's like, it breaks an 8-year Jason Statham box office record.
Well, see,
I didn't click it to read what
here's
it is.
What
75 in 2 weeks ain't bad.
Here's what's weird about the Beekeeper is in 2014 John Wick was made, right? And I'm comparing these because Beekeeper is basically a John Wick clone. But John Wick, everyone's like, oh well, it's not John Wick. John Wick is amazing, so the first John Wick in its entire run only made $86 million.
Well,
worldwide.
You know, the thing about John Wick 2, I never heard about that movie until you were like, dude, John
Go
Wick.
see this movie.
Yeah,
and
you're like, oh, but the dog dies. And I was like, I'm not watching that dumbass.
$75 million in its, what, 2 weeks?
2 weeks.
So does this mean green light for more Beekeeper verse? And I think they just need to cross over John Wick and Beekeeper. There's the same freaking movie, man.
They could do that in a comic book. That could be cool.
It's the same movie. But anyway, I reviewed it, last week?
Last week, yeah.
And it's Jason Statham kicking dudes' butts. And if you're into it, it's great.
Yeah. I would have watched it this week if you hadn't talked about it on the show. I should just go to the movie for fun. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have so much to do on the weekend. It's like, but then coming in at the number 1 spot, holding on to the number 1 spot, keeping musicals on top right now. Mean Girls, the musical. $11.66 million, bringing its domestic take so far up to $50 million, and it's brought in another dozen or so across the world. I don't know if it would really jive with cultures across the globe.
Probably not. And it's been getting mixed reviews. Some people are like, "Oh yeah, it's great," and other people are like, I kind of would have just rather seen this on stage. And
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like if you're not expecting it to be a made-for-stage musical. But I think one of our viewers, Dina Wright, was saying that a lot of people might not know it's a musical. Mm-hmm. However, every bit of advertising I saw for this made it very clear that this is a musical. Yeah. So.
Well, okay, guys. Well, it is 9 o'clock. That is our time. We are done. That is the top 10 movies in America, and that is our show. We're gonna reach into the goodie box from our one of our viewers, Velvet Santa, over on Twitch. Sent us this goodie box a few weeks ago, and we have not looked into it. It's hidden down here, and I reach down and I just grab stuff out of it until there's no more things in. Let's see.
Well, while you're doing that, Ali Sparkman said, "Yeah, people want to see Timothy Chalamet." So yeah, right there with what we were saying, and then. The Android said only recently discovered the fourth Matrix. Yeah, the one that was on the streaming service. What is it? Whatever streaming service.
I don't know.
It was on
that
Hulu.
The like Animatrix?
No. The one that's the new one where Neo's not the one.
Oh yeah.
But what's her face is the true one, and Neo helps do it. So Neo's like, "Oh, I forgot. I'm not Jesus. She's Jesus."
Oh.
Yeah. And
Whoa.
And it was really just the Wachowskis being like, "Well, we're not boys anymore, so neither is the one." That's what it was.
I mean,
I'm not being mean. I'm not being like shitty. Like the whole movie was like about trans, and because Wachowskis are both trans, and that's okay. But
they even said
the movie was really stupid.
They did say in an interview, I did read it, that this movie was about their journey as well.
Except for before and during the movie when it came out, they were like, "It's not about that. It's not about that at all." And then as soon as it came out, they're like,
"Yeah, no, it totally is.
Fuck it. Yeah, it's about us being trans. Goddamn. Yeah."
Okay.
Oops, I forgot there were kids out there. I just hated that movie so much because I was like, Matrix, it might be cool, and then I was like, damn it, it's just like all of them but the first one.
Mm-hmm.
Which is not cool. The first one was cool, and the rest of them, including Animatrix, sucked.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. Well, I just reached into the box of goodies, handed an item to Jake. We're going to reveal them. This is a shout-outs to Velvet Santa over on Twitch, who supplied us with these things. It does feel like more VHSs.
I definitely have a VHS tape.
Yeah, so in 3, 2, 1, what do we got?
Oh, dang.
What did you get?
How many people want to kick some ass? I do.
Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back. Is that an old Hastings copy?
It sure is.
I recognize that label. I could smell that label, actually. I remember we both used to work at Hastings.
Yeah, we did.
A long time ago. He was a back-of-house guy. I was a front-of-house manager. But we didn't work at the same Hastings at the same time. I think we
did
worked
work
at
the same Hastings, not at the same
times.
time. Yeah,
but I got Driving Miss Daisy, and it was This has a cool sticker that illustrates like the market back then. Let me go up here. Where's the upper cam? And let me see if I can focus in on that. Oh, there it is. It says brand new $94.95, rented $19.95. And he says it even has the receipt inside.
What? How old is that copy of a VHS tape?
Come on, there it is.
When VHS first came out, yeah, they were like $100.
Yeah, because that was a part of the market back then. It says this was in 1991. Yeah, they bought the rental copy for $19.95. They also bought Chicago Joe and the Show and Midnight Cowboy. They came in to sell that. They got $14.95 for this VHS cassette copy.
In 91, that movie would not have been worth $20. That's ridiculous.
Yeah. Crazy, man. All-Star Video. All right. Well, thanks for the goodies.
I got a question. Did you write Jay and Silent Bob suck on moviepoopshoot.com?
What?
That's the end of the movie. They like what they do
yeah.
with their proceeds from the Blunt Man and Chronic movie, where Mark Hamill punches Jay in the nuts super hard as Cockknocker. They print off all of the reviews of their movie, and they go around to everyone's houses. They track them down, and it's like all these little kids or like fat nerds or whatever, and they answer the door and they're like, "Did you write that Jay and Silent Bob could blow each other and you hate them and want them to die on moviepoopshoot.com?" Like, yeah, I sure did. And then they just beat the hell out of them, and there's a song in the background going, "Hey, how many people want to kick some ass?" I do.
I remember that song. Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
Also, this is a great movie for Morris Day and the Time.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because that's the other thing they do is they get on stage and they do the leg shuffle thing
yeah.
with
The
Morris Day
dance.
to Jungle Love. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, they do the Purple Rain thing.
Well, hell yeah. Well, all right. Well, thanks for the goodies. That's our show. Thanks for tuning in. Don't forget you can like.
It is you who are the ball lickers.
You can like. Our fans, you guys are not ball lickers.
No, that's like
unless you're into that and that's your thing, then by all means.
That's from the Jay and Silent Bob
lick
movie.
balls. But Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, don't forget, like and subscribe. We prefer Twitch. We love that. Also, if you want to join in on the fun with some of our viewers and whatnot outside of the show, you can always jump in on our Discord. Vince, our Twitch mod, has dropped that link right there into the comments. And I did update our YouTube and Twitch bio descriptions to have those social media links that are now, they actually work. There was an expired link up there for a long time. So you can get into the fun. You can just click and chat with all of the friends that you make in the Drive-In Speaker Box community. So thank you for tuning in. And I guess that's all I've got. Jake, you got any fun little Crispies at the end?
No.
You or the ball lickers?
I think I blew it all with my Jane. At one point in time, this was my favorite movie because it has Carrie Fisher, it has Mark Hamill, it has Morris Day and the Time, it has Chris Rock. It brings in every character from all of Kevin Smith's previous movies. I think this was Kevin Smith's last big good movie, and I hated that new Jay and Silent Bob movie that came out. So I think
so great.
this is
That's the one.
epitome of Kevin Smith. Yeah.
Well, right on, guys. Well, we will see you guys next week. As always, I'm Bo, the boom operator.
I'm the Grip.
Ta-ta.
As you leave the theater, folks, please be careful. Don't let this happen to your car. Be sure to remove the speaker before you leave. If you should accidentally pull a speaker loose, please turn it in at our snack bar or box office. Thank you.